The Great Hall on Nexus Prime glowed with strange lights. 12 alien species sat around a massive crystal table, each one different from the others. Some looked like giant insects, others like walking trees, and a few resembled nothing humans had ever seen before. They had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, and today they were angry. Admiral Zethkra stood at the center of the room. His blue skin looked almost black in the dim light, and his forearms moved as he spoke. He was from the Veltar Empire, one of the oldest and strongest races in the galaxy. When he talked, others listened. "The humans have gone too far," he said, his voice echoing through the hall. 50 years ago, they barely knew how to leave their own planet. Now they build colonies on dozens of worlds. They multiply like insects and spread faster than any species we have ever seen. One of the insect-like creatures clicked its mandibles. "They are dangerous. They do not follow our rules. They do not ask permission before they expand." Another alien, this one looking like a walking crystal, spoke in a voice that sounded like breaking glass. They refused to join the council. "Say they want to be free. No species can be truly free in our galaxy." Admiral Zethkra nodded. "Exactly. Order must be maintained. The humans threaten everything we have built over the centuries. If we let them continue, other species might think they can do the same thing." Far away, in the cold darkness of space near Mars, Commander Jake Morrison stared out the window of the space station New Horizon. He was a tall man with short brown hair and tired eyes. He had been watching the stars for hours, but tonight they seemed different somehow. Tonight they seemed dangerous. The communication alarm suddenly rang through the station. Ouch! Jake walked quickly to the main control room where his crew was waiting. Lieutenant Amy Roberts, a young woman with red hair, looked worried as she handed him a datapad. "Sir, we just received a message from the Galactic Council. It's marked as urgent and official." Jake took the pad and read the message. His face grew pale as he continued reading. The other crew members watched him carefully, waiting for him to speak. "Get me a direct line to Earth," Jake said quietly. "We need to talk to the President right away." On Earth, President Lisa Carter was in her office late at night when the emergency call came through. She was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and sharp eyes that had seen many difficult decisions. When her secretary told her about the urgent message from space, she knew it was not good news. Within an hour, the most important people in Earth's government were sitting around a table. In the Pentagon, Defense Secretary Ryan Hayes, a large man with a military background, sat next to Admiral Sam Brooks, the head of Earth's Space Forces. Dr. Alex Turner, the best scientist who studied alien life, sat across from them with a worried look on his face. President Carter read the council's message out loud. Her voice was steady, but everyone could hear the anger underneath. "To the species known as humans, living on the planet called Earth, the Galactic Council has watched your expansion with growing concern. You have colonized 17 worlds without our permission. You have built military ships without our approval. You have refused to accept our authority over your actions." She paused and looked around the room. "Therefore, the Council demands the following. First, all human expansion beyond your home system must stop immediately. Second, you must surrender all military vessels to Council forces. Third, you must accept Council governors on Earth to oversee your population. You have 30 days to comply. If you refuse, the Council will use military force to make you obey." The room was silent for a long moment. Finally, Admiral Brooks spoke up. "How many ships do they have?" Dr. Turner looked at his notes. "According to our intelligence, the 12 Council species have over 10,000 warships between them. Some of their technology is hundreds of years ahead of ours. Their weapons can destroy entire planets, and we have," asked Secretary Hayes. "About 200 ships that could fight in a real battle," Admiral Brooks replied. "Most of them are small patrol vessels. We have maybe 20 ships that could stand up to their heavy cruisers, and that's being generous." President Carter stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of the city, millions of people going about their normal lives. They had no idea that their entire world was about to change. "What do you think, Dr. Turner?" she asked. "You know these aliens better than anyone." Dr. Turner adjusted his glasses and thought for a moment. The council species are old, very old. They've been in charge for so long that they think they own the galaxy. But there's something else. In all my studies, I've noticed that they don't adapt well to new situations. They do things the same way they've always done them. What does that mean for us? Asked Secretary Hayes. It means they probably expect us to surrender without a fight. Most species do when the council threatens them. They've never faced a species like humans before? President Carter turned back to the group. Gentlemen, let me be clear about something. Earth will not surrender. We didn't fight for our independence from kings and emperors just to bow down. 2 alien overlords. The question is not whether we'll fight, but how we'll fight. Admiral Brooks leaned forward. Ma'am, with respect, we can't win a straight battle against them. They outnumber us 50-1. Then we don't fight a straight battle, President Carter said. We fight like humans have always fought when we're outnumbered. We use our brains, we adapt, and we never give up. The meeting continued for hours. As they planned Earth's response, when it was over, President Carter sat alone in her office, looking at the message one more time. She picked up her pen and wrote Earth's reply in simple, clear words. To the Galactic Council. Earth rejects your demands. We are a free people, and we will remain free. If you want to take our freedom, you will have to fight for it. But remember, you are not the first to underestimate humans, and you will not be the last to regret it. Earth stands free. She sent the message, knowing that it would reach every corner of the galaxy. The Council had made their biggest mistake. They thought humans would be easy to defeat. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 3 weeks had passed since Earth sent their message to the Galactic Council. The response came faster than anyone expected. Space near the edge of the solar system suddenly filled with bright flashes of light as ships appeared from hyperspace. 300 alien warships emerged from the darkness, each one bigger and more powerful than anything humans had ever built. Commander Thisas stood on the bridge of his flagship, Inevitable Victory. He was a member of the Kreshti, an insect-like species that had served the Council for over 1,000 years. His compound eyes looked at the tactical display showing the human solar system. To him, this looked like it would be the easiest victory in his long military career. Communications officer, Thisas clicked in his native language, scanned for human vessels. I want to know where their pathetic fleet is hiding. The officer worked at his station for several minutes before reporting back. Commander, we have detected 12 human ships near the gas giant they call Jupiter. They appear to be waiting for us. Thisas laughed, a sound like grinding metal. 12 ships? The intelligence report said they had 200. Are the rest hiding behind their planet like scared children? Near Jupiter, Captain Ben Foster stood on the bridge of his ship, the Earth's Pride. He was a man in his 40s with graying hair and calm blue eyes. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. They all knew the odds, but none of them showed fear. Captain, said his communications officer, the alien fleet is moving toward us. They're sending a message. Put it on screen, Ben said. The image of Commander Thisas appeared on the main viewer. His alien face was frightening to look at, but Ben had seen worse things in his years of military service. Human vessel, Thisas said in broken English. You will surrender immediately. Your species has defied the Council, and now you must pay the price. Shut down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. If you comply, your deaths will be quick. Ben stood up slowly and straightened his uniform. Alien. Commander, this is Captain Ben Foster of the Earth Defense Force. I have a message for you and your council. Go to hell. Before Thisas could respond, Ben cut the communication and turned to his crew. All ships, this is Foster. Execute Battle Plan Alpha. Show these bugs what humans can do. The 12 human ships suddenly scattered in different directions, moving toward Jupiter's many moons. The alien commander was confused by this move. Why were the humans running away from his superior force? Far below on Earth, Dr. Rachel Green worked frantically in her underground laboratory in Colorado. She had been studying alien technology for years, using samples recovered from crashed alien probes and abandoned equipment found on distant worlds. What she had discovered would change everything. The aliens rely too much on their computers, she said to her assistant while working on a new weapon system. They've forgotten how to think for themselves. Ships are controlled by artificial intelligence that follows predictable patterns. If we can disrupt those patterns, we can beat them. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel Kate Wilson was preparing Earth's ground defenses. Hidden weapon platforms throughout the asteroid belt were coming online under the command of Major Danny Clark. These weapons had been built in secret over the past 10 years, disguised as mining equipment and research stations. Back at Jupiter, the battle was about to begin. Commander Thesis ordered his fleet to pursue the human ships, but as they moved closer to the gas giant, strange things started to happen. Jupiter's powerful magnetic field began to interfere with the alien ships' sensors. The radiation from the planet's storms made their targeting systems work poorly. Captain Foster had spent months studying Jupiter's environment. He knew exactly how to use the planet's natural defenses against the alien fleet. His ships darted between the moons, using their gravity to change direction quickly, while the heavier alien ships struggled to keep up. "Fire all weapons," Foster ordered as his ship came around behind a group of alien vessels. The human ships were smaller and weaker than the alien warships, but they were also faster and more flexible. Foster's crew had trained for this exact situation. They hit the alien ships with everything they had, then quickly moved away before the aliens could return fire. "Commander," this is watched in growing anger as his forces struggled to catch the human ships. "This is impossible," he clicked to his tactical officer. "How can such primitive vessels outmaneuver us?" "Sir, their tactics do not match any known battle formations in our database. Our computers cannot predict their next moves." On another human ship, Captain Emma Stone was leading her own attack run. She was a woman in her 30s with short black hair and fierce green eyes. Her ship, the New Liberty, was one of the newest. "In Earth's fleet, target their engine systems," she ordered her weapons officer. "If we can slow them down, they can't chase us through the moon field." The battle continued for hours. The aliens had superior firepower, but the humans had something the aliens had forgotten about: creativity. Every time the alien computers tried to predict what the humans would do next, the humans did something completely different. Dr. Green's weapons were working perfectly. The new energy disruptors she had created were designed specifically to confuse alien computer systems. When the alien ships tried to lock onto human targets, their computers would suddenly stop working for several seconds. In space combat, a few seconds was all the difference between life and death. As the battle raged, our human ships arrived from Mars and the outer planets. Admiral Sam Brooks had positioned them carefully, waiting for the right moment to strike. When the alien fleet was spread out and confused, he gave the order to attack. "All units, this is Admiral Brooks. Execute Operation Hammer. Hit them hard and fast." The fresh human ships struck the alien fleet from behind while Foster's group continued their hit-and-run attacks from the front. The aliens found themselves caught between two forces. Unable to concentrate their fire on either group, Commander The Eyes realized that his easy victory was turning into a disaster. His fleet was scattered, his ships were damaged, and the humans were fighting like nothing he had ever encountered before. This was not how the Council's wars were supposed to go. "Retreat," he finally ordered. "All ships, withdraw to the outer system. We need to regroup and call for reinforcements." As the alien fleet pulled back, Captain Foster allowed himself a small smile. They had won the first battle, but he knew this was only the beginning. The Council would be back with more ships and a better understanding of human tactics on Earth. President Carter received the news of the victory with mixed feelings. They had proven that humans could fight the Council and win, but the cost had been high. 3 human ships were destroyed, and many good people had died. "This is just the start," she told her advisors. "They'll be back, and next time, they'll be ready for us. We need to be ready too." The galaxy was watching now. The first time in centuries, someone had stood up to the Council and lived to tell about it. Other oppressed species began to whisper among themselves. Maybe the humans were right. Maybe freedom was worth fighting for. News of the human victory at Jupiter spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. On distant worlds, alien species that had been forced to serve the Council for centuries began to talk in whispers. Some had almost forgotten what freedom felt like, but the humans had reminded them. On the water world of Aquanus, reptilian Sarok received the news with growing excitement. They had been slaves to the Council for 300 years, forced to mine rare crystals from the ocean floor. Their leader, an old warrior named Kosek, called a secret meeting in the deepest underwater caves. Brothers and sisters, Kosek spoke to the gathered Sarok, his voice filled with hope he had not felt in decades. The humans have done what we thought was impossible, fought the Council and won. If these young mammals can stand up to our oppressors, perhaps it is time for us to remember who we used to be. A younger Sorok named Thera swam forward. But Kosek, the humans are far away. How can they help us here? They have already helped us, the old warrior replied. They have shown us that the Council can be beaten. Now we must help ourselves. Meanwhile, Ambassador Nina Parker was working secretly on a space station, hidden in an asteroid field. She was a woman in her 30s with brown hair and intelligent eyes who specialized in alien languages and cultures. For weeks, she had been trying to make contact with oppressed species throughout the galaxy. We're getting responses, she told her team excitedly. 17 different species have reached out to us in the past few days. They all want to know the same thing. Are we really going to fight the Council? Back in the solar system, General Chris Taylor was planning humanity's next move. He was a man in his 50s, with gray hair and scars from many battles. His job was to coordinate attacks on Council forces before they could organize a proper invasion of Earth. The aliens are regrouping near Alpha Centauri, he told his staff officers. Intelligence reports show they're bringing in ships from all over the galaxy. If we let them gather their full strength, we'll never be able to stop them. Dr. Helen Price, the head of Earth's technology research team, entered the briefing room. With exciting news, she was a brilliant woman in her 40s who had been working day and night to understand alien technology. General, we've made a breakthrough, she said, holding up a strange device. We've figured out how to use their own power sources against them. This weapon can overload their shield generators and cause their ships to shut down completely. Captain Roger Blake, one of Earth's best Special Forces officers, studied the device carefully. He was a tall man with black hair and sharp features who had volunteered for the most dangerous missions. How close do we need to get to use it? He asked. About 50 meters, Dr. Price replied. You'd have to board their ships or get very close to them. Roger smiled grimly. Leave that to us. My team has been looking for a way to take the fight. Directly to them? God. On Earth, President Carter was meeting with leaders from around the world. The unity that had emerged during the crisis was stronger than anyone had expected. Nations that had been enemies for decades were now working together to defend their planet. The aliens think we're just one small world with a few million people, she told the assembled leaders. They don't understand that humanity's not just one group, but thousands of different cultures, all fighting for the same thing: freedom. Far away, Admiral Zethkara was having his own problems. The easy victory he had promised the Council had turned into an embarrassing defeat. Other Council members were beginning to question his leadership and the intelligence reports about human capabilities. How did 12 primitive ships defeat 300 of our best warships? Demanded the crystalline being known as First Crystal. Humans fight differently than any species we have encountered, Zethkara replied, trying to keep his anger under control. They do not follow logical battle patterns. Their tactics change constantly, making it impossible for our computers to predict their movements. The insect-like representative clicked his mandibles impatiently. Then we must adapt our strategy. Send more ships. Overwhelm them with numbers. I have already ordered 5,000 warships to assemble at Alpha Centauri, the Admiral said. This time, we will not underestimate them. Back in the solar system, the Battle of Titan was about to begin. Commander Jake Morrison had been promoted and now commanded a task force of 30 human ships. They had detected a large alien fleet moving toward Saturn's largest moon, where humans had established an important research facility. All ships, this is Morrison, he broadcast to his fleet. The aliens think they can destroy our research station and demoralize us. They're about to learn that attacking our people only makes us fight harder. Captain Emma Stone was part of Morrison's fleet, commanding her ship, the New Liberty. She had volunteered for this mission even though everyone knew it would be extremely dangerous. The alien fleet heading toward Titan was much larger than the force they had faced at Jupiter. "Captain," her tactical officer reported, "we're detecting over 200 alien ships approaching Titan. They'll reach the moon in 6 hours." Emma looked at the display showing the massive alien fleet. "Then we have 6 hours to show them why attacking humans is a mistake." The battle that followed would be remembered as the turning point of the war. Commander Morrison used Titans, thick atmosphere and methane lakes to hide his ships, striking at the alien fleet from unexpected angles. Captain Stone led a desperate attack on the alien command ship, using Dr. Price's new weapons to disable their shields. The fighting was fierce and costly. Many human ships were destroyed, and hundreds of brave men and women gave their lives. But when the battle was over, the alien fleet was in retreat once again. More importantly, the research station on Titan had been saved, along with the vital work being done there. Dr. Alex Turner was on Titan during the battle, continuing his research into alien biology. What he discovered there would prove crucial to humanity's ultimate victory. The aliens had a weakness that no one had suspected, something in their genetic makeup that could be exploited. As news of the victory spread, more alien species began to rebel against Council rule. Serac attacked their overseers on Aquinas. Crystalline Luminar refused to provide energy crystals to Council forces. Across the galaxy, the Council's grip on power was beginning to weaken. President Carter addressed the world once more, her voice broadcast to every corner of Earth and beyond. "Today we prove something important. We prove that freedom is not just a human dream, but a universal right. We will continue to fight, not just for Earth, but for every species that yearns to be free." The Council had made their mistake, had united humanity against them, but even worse, they had given hope to every oppressed species in the galaxy. The war was far from over, but for the first time in centuries, freedom had a real chance of winning. The Galactic Council was falling apart from the inside. What had started as a united force against humanity was now breaking into pieces as old enemies remembered their hatred for each other. On the ocean world of Thalassa, the aquatic Nethes were holding secret meetings in the deepest trenches of their planet. Wave Speaker Morden floated in the dark water, surrounded by his most trusted advisors. The Nethes looked like giant jellyfish, with tentacles that glowed with soft blue light. They had been forced to join the Council 500 years ago, when their peaceful world was invaded, and they had never forgotten the injustice. "The humans have given us something we lost long ago." Morden spoke in the flowing language of his people. "They have given us hope. If these land dwellers can stand against the Council, perhaps the time has come for us to reclaim our freedom as well." His advisor, a younger Nethes named Coral Singer, pulsed with nervous light. "But Wave Speaker, what if we fail? The Council will destroy our entire species." "They are already destroying us," Morden replied sadly. "Every year they take more of our young to serve in their armies. Every year they harvest more of our precious coral forests. At least if we fight, we die with honor." On a hidden asteroid base, diplomat Amy Roberts was working to coordinate the growing rebellion. She had been promoted after making first contact with several alien species who wanted to help humanity. The small asteroid had been converted into a communication center where messages from across the galaxy were received and decoded. "Amy, you need to see this?" called her assistant, a young man named Pete. "We're getting signals from the Luminar homeworld. It looks like they've completely stopped providing energy crystals to the Council." Amy looked at the message with excitement. The Lumini were beings made of living crystal who controlled vast energy sources throughout the galaxy. Without their power crystals, many Council ships would be unable to operate at full capacity. Meanwhile, Colonel Kevin Scott was leading the first joint human Sorok operation against a Council outpost on the planet Kepler-4 for to be. The planet was rich in rare metals that the Council used to build their warships, and it had been mined by slave labor for over 2 centuries. Kevin crouched, behind a rocky outcrop, watching the alien guards patrol the mining facility. Beside him, Thera, the young Saurak warrior, checked her weapon. The reptilian aliens were natural fighters, but they had been forbidden to carry weapons for so long that many had forgotten how to use them. "Remember," Kevin whispered to the mixed team of humans and Saurak, "we're not just here to destroy the facility. We're here to free the prisoners and give them a chance to fight back." The attack came at dawn. Human soldiers used their advanced tactics, while the Saurak fighters relied on their natural speed and strength. The council guards were caught completely by surprise. They had been told that the mining slaves were too weak and broken to ever rebel, but they were wrong. As the fighting spread through the facility, thousands of alien prisoners joined the battle. Species that had been enemies in the past fought side by side against their common oppressor. The facility fell within hours, and for the first time in centuries, Kepler 442b was free, back on Earth. Dr. Rachel Green was working with alien scientists who had escaped from Council territory. Her underground laboratory had become a center for technological development, where human innovation was combined with alien knowledge. "Look at this," she said to Dr. Helen Price, showing her a new weapon. "Design the Saurak have a completely different approach to energy manipulation. If we combine their techniques with our targeting systems, we can create weapons that are twice as powerful as anything the Council has." Above them, Admiral Sam Brooks was preparing for the largest space battle in human history: intelligence. Reports showed that the Council was gathering a massive fleet in the Nexus system for one final attack on Earth. Every available human ship was being prepared for the coming fight. "Sir," reported his aide, "Captain Roger Blake's Special Forces team has successfully infiltrated 3 Council command ships. They're ready to use Dr. Price's new weapons to disable their communication systems." Admiral Brooks nodded grimly. "Good. When this battle starts, we need every advantage we can get." On Earth, President Carter was addressing a joint session of the United Nations. Representatives from every nation sat together, united as they had never been before. The threat from space had made all earthly conflicts seem small and meaningless. "Fellow humans," she began, "we stand at a crossroads in our history. The choice before us is simple. We can surrender our freedom and live as slaves, or we can fight for the right of all species to determine their own destiny. I know what choice we will make." The hall erupted in applause as delegates from around the world stood to show their support. Outside, millions of people watched the broadcast, preparing themselves for the final battle that was coming in space. Captain Troy Adams commanded one of the newest human warships, the Freedom's Light. He was a young man in his 20s who had grown up hearing stories of the early days of the war. To him, the fight against the Council was not just about survival. It was about proving that freedom was worth any sacrifice. Captain, his communications officer, reported, "We're receiving messages from rebel groups across the galaxy. Dare. All asking the same question. When do we strike back?" Troy smiled as he looked at the tactical display showing friendly forces gathering throughout known space. What had started as Earth's desperate fight for survival had become something much bigger, a galactic revolution that would change everything. The Council's Supreme Admiral Zeth Kura stood on his flagship, watching his forces prepare for what he promised would be the final assault on the human homeworld. But even he could see that something had changed. His fleet was smaller than planned because many species were refusing to send ships. Some of his own officers were beginning to question their orders. Admiral, his tactical officer, reported nervously, "We're detecting massive energy signatures throughout the galaxy. It appears that multiple species are mobilizing their forces." Svethkara's forearms trembled with rage. "Impossible.
Ow!
The Council has ruled for thousands of years. A few primitive humans cannot destroy everything we have built." Deep down, he knew the truth. The humans had done more than just fight back. They had inspired others to remember what freedom felt like. The Council's greatest weapon had always been fear, but the humans had shown that fear could be overcome, as forces gathered on both sides. The galaxy prepared for a battle that would determine the future of every intelligent species. The Council had declared war on Earth, thinking it would be easy. They had awakened something far more dangerous than they ever imagined, the universal desire for freedom. The final battle began in the Nexus system, where the crystal world that had been the Council's seat of power for thousands of years now glowed with the light of war. Admiral Jake Morrison commanded the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled, but he was no longer fighting alone. Ships from dozens of species flew alongside human vessels, all united under the banner of freedom. The Council's remaining forces gathered around their homeworld like a protective shell. Admiral Zethkara had managed to collect nearly 8,000 warships, but many of them were crewed by reluctant soldiers who no longer believed in their cause. The unity that had once made the Council unstoppable was gone forever. All ships. This is Admiral Morrison, Jake broadcast to the massive Allied fleet. Today we don't just fight for Earth or for humanity. We fight for every species that has ever dreamed of being free. Let's show them what that dream is worth. Captain Troy Adams gripped his command chair as the Freedom's light moved into position alongside Sirach attack vessels and Nethi's bioships. The sight of so many different species working together would have been impossible to imagine just months ago. But the humans had made it real. On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Zethkara watched the approaching fleet with growing despair. He had spent his entire life serving the Council, believing that their rule brought order to the galaxy. Now, he saw that order crumbling before his eyes. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving surrender requests from 17 of our own ships. Their crews are refusing to fight." "Traitors," Zethkara snarled. "Open fire on any ship that tries to leave formation." But even as he gave the order, more Council ships were breaking away from the main fleet. The rebellion had spread even into the heart of the Council's military forces. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships darted between the massive Council dreadnoughts, while Sirach fighters used their natural speed to strike at weak points in enemy formations. The Nethys had brought living ships that could repair themselves during combat, while the Luminar provided energy shields that protected the smaller vessels. Dr. Alex Turner's research proved crucial in the final moments of the battle. Working from a command ship behind the main fighting, he activated a device that sent out a specific frequency designed to disrupt the Council's computer systems. The aliens had become so dependent on artificial intelligence that when their computers failed, many of their ships became helpless. Captain Roger Blake led his Special Forces team in a daring assault on the Council's command center on Nexus Prime itself. Using stolen alien technology and pure human determination, they fought their way through the crystal tunnels beneath the planet's surface. There, Roger pointed to a massive chamber filled with glowing computers. "That's their central command system. If we can destroy it, their entire fleet will lose coordination." The fighting in the tunnels was fierce, but Roger's team had trained for exactly this kind of mission. They used every trick they had learned during months of warfare, fighting through corridors filled with desperate Council guards who knew their empire was ending. Above the planet, Admiral Morrison coordinated the space battle with tactical skill that amazed even his own officers. He seemed to anticipate every move the enemy made, always staying one step ahead of their strategies. What the Council didn't understand was that Morrison wasn't just following a battle plan, he was making it up as he went along, adapting to each new situation as it developed. Colonel Kate Wilson commanded the ground assault on Nexus Prime, leading a combined force of humans and alien allies in an attack on the planet's main cities. The crystal beings who lived there had built their civilization into the living rock of the world itself, creating a maze of tunnels and chambers that went down for miles. "Keep moving," Kate ordered her troops as they advanced through the glowing corridors. "Every minute we delay gives them more time to organize their defenses." But the defense was already crumbling. Many of the Council's own security forces were laying down their weapons rather than fight against the Liberation Army. Some even joined the attackers, tired of serving a system that cared nothing for their welfare. In the deepest chamber of the Council's headquarters, the surviving Council members gathered for one last meeting. The 12 species that had once ruled the galaxy were now reduced to frightened leaders hiding underground while their empire collapsed around them. "This is impossible," clicked the insect representative. "How can these primitive species defeat us? We have ruled for millennia." "Because," said a familiar voice from the chamber entrance, "you forgot what made you strong in the first place." The council members turned to see Wave Speaker Morden floating in the doorway, surrounded by Nethi's warriors, the aquatic beings. Tentacles glowed with satisfaction as he looked at his former oppressors. "You ruled through fear and force," Morden continued. "But the humans taught us something you had forgotten. That beings who fight for freedom are always stronger than those who fight to maintain slavery." The final surrender came when Admiral Zethgara's own officers removed him from command and ordered their fleet to stand down. The sight of the Council's mightiest admiral being arrested by his own people was broadcast across the galaxy, making it clear to everyone that the old order was truly finished. President Carter arrived on Nexus Prime 3 days after the battle ended. She walked through the crystal halls, where the Council had once made decisions that affected billions of lives. But now those same halls echoed with the voices of free beings planning a better future. The Galactic Liberation Alliance, she announced 2 representatives from dozens of species, will be built on the principle that no species has the right to rule over another. "We will work together as equals, not as masters and slaves." Admiral Morrison, now bearing the title of Grand Admiral of the Alliance Fleet, oversaw the establishment of new trade routes and defense agreements between the liberated worlds. The ships that had once enforced the Council's rule were converted into exploration vessels and medical ships. Dr. Rachel Green led the new scientific exchange program, where researchers from all species shared their knowledge freely. The technologies that had once been used for war were now directed toward healing and exploration. The universe suddenly seemed full of possibilities that had been impossible under Council rule. Captain Troy Adams took command of the first exploration mission. Beyond the known galaxy, his ship, now renamed the New Beginning, carried a crew of humans and aliens working together to discover what lay beyond the stars they knew, as they prepared to leave for distant galaxies. A message arrived from deep space. It came from an unknown species that had somehow heard about the liberation of the galaxy. "We have waited long for liberators," the message said. "Our world has been enslaved for centuries by conquerors from another galaxy. If you are truly the ones who brought freedom to the Council worlds, please come. We are ready to fight, but we need leaders who understand what freedom means." President Carter read the message with a mixture of excitement and determination. Humanity had started this war just trying to protect their own world. But now they had become something greater, the guardians of freedom for species they had never even met. "Send a reply," she told her communications officer. "Tell them we're coming. Tell them that no one fights for freedom alone." The Council had declared war on Earth, thinking they were crushing a small, insignificant species. Instead, they had awakened the one thing that could destroy their empire, the universal desire for freedom. Humanity's greatest victory was not in the battles they won, but in the hope they gave to every oppressed being in the universe. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly what the humans had intended.